Oh, hello, y'all. Welcome back. I am going to be stitching tic-tac-toe game pieces, and I've actually pulled two sets into my 8 by 12 hoop. I've not done this before, but I decided I'm just going to use this to stitch them all, and I won't have you watch the whole thing. Um, all right, so your first step that's going to come up is to stitch a placement line for you to lay down your stiffener stuff. Whatever you're going to use to help make your pieces a little stiffer. And I'm using right now craft fuse. And since I already had pink in here from stitching the little girl, oh well. It doesn't make any difference. It's going to get covered up. Alright, so color stop number 2 is going to tack down this craft fuse, and I'm just going to center it on here. And that paint lets me see really well to align this. Alright, since I used a strip, I'm just going to trim this off, and hopefully there'll be enough. Ah, yeah. Okay, so my next color stop. Alright, so I've stitched my fabric down. Color stop number, let me back up. Okay, so color stop 4 would have the little squares that you would stitch down. It would be your tack down. And then color stop 5 is a reminder that you're going to lay your fabric down. Color stop 6 is going to stitch your fabric. And then the next color stop is going to start on your, I have an extra color stop I need to take out. It's going to start on your design. So I need gold, I believe. Yes, I need gold. Hang on. So the color pieces that come with this design are the top part of the little girl. It's just that part right there. We're going to get these done, and this is the start of the little girl's tic-tac-toe thing. Tic-tac-toe game piece. Okay, so this is just a shrunk down version of the top of her head, or her feathers. And it's going to stitch just like she did. And it'll do all of this step all the way down. And there is nothing I can do to change this. I've tried. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Why is it stitching again? It's not supposed to be stitching again. Oh dear. Let me go look at the file. Alright, well, somehow I duplicated that on top of itself. But I fixed it now, so let's keep stitching. Alright, so This is how it's supposed to do. Just one pass, not two passes. And that I can't do anything about. So it's just going to cut and start again. And then it does an outline around it. That I didn't put there. It's part of what creates this look. Alright, so it should jump over here. And it should continue just like that for all 6 pieces. Alright, color stop number 8 is yellow, and I've put that in. Now let me reiterate. Let me say that the process to stitching these is the same no matter what tic-tac-toe piece you have. The process of the fabric and the squares is the same. The only thing that changes is the design that's inside. Alright, so this is for the yellow. This is color stop 8. It won't, you know, you're not going to have this same design on all the boards, so this step, if you will be different depending on what the embroidery design is. There may only be a couple of steps depending on the design. There could be 10 steps because of the design, but the actual steps for the fabric and the placement of the pocket and all that is the same. Now why does this one work but the gold one didn't? I don't understand. It's the exact same feather, just moved and turned. Alright, so color stop 9, or the next color stop for the turkey, is orange. I put in orange. It started stitching. Now see, yellow just continued. This one is different because it's turned different. That is so weird. So we'll go through and it'll do all of this color. And once again, it's going to do just like all the others. It'll stitch this one, go to this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And the yellow didn't do that. That just, of course, on another design, it'd be stitching something different. Alright, so we're going to do this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So now it's going to just finish doing all the others, and I'll be back. All right, so now step number 5. If you were using fabric, it would be so you could cut the fabric squares, the fabric square back if you wanted, or you could just stitch it. It's a very open zigzag, and it would just give your piece an extra, sorry, I'm trying to thread, an extra hold if you want, which isn't a bad idea, but I'll stitch one so you can see what it looks like. So this is an open zigzag around for the square, and it's especially helpful when you just use the fabric squares, the 2-inch fabric squares. So it doesn't, I don't know what I want to say here. See, it's just an open zigzag. And it would provide you a little extra oomph to keep the parts from fraying or whatever. So I'm not going to stitch the others. I'm going to skip down to step number 13 and just stitch the satin stitching around each of the parts. So when it does this, it's going to go around and do all the others. And I chose pink because that's what she was done in. Oops, I need some light around here. Here we go. That's what she was done in, pink. So I'll be back when it's all done. Rather, when the squares are all finished stitching, because we have a couple more steps to do. And there's the finished game pieces. Just have to be cut out. So I'm going to do the other ones, and I'll be back when I finish them and am cutting them out. Alright, so this part of the video is going to be using 2-inch squares, or I cut these 2 1/4, but I think 2 inches is going to be enough. I'll verify that whenever we're going, because I honestly don't remember. So I'm going to stitch the next color stop, which is the placement stitch for the squares. And you really need to do this, because if you don't have these squares centered on there, then nothing's going to work right. I'm going to change the speed on my machine. I don't know if it really makes a lot of difference. Alright, I'll be back when these squares are finished stitching. Alright, so if you're wondering what that is, it's school glue, washable school glue. So, I have a hard time trying to figure out the orientation with it way up there. So I'm going to move this down a little bit. Alright, so I want to make sure that, and I can see the pink through there. So that is pretty well centered there. I'm just going to take that down. And I think I have these all upright. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to see and center that there. And just out of curiosity, let me see, is this a 2-inch? Let's Alright, so this is a 2-inch. And because I'm using white, I can see, but I think this 2-inch square would be sufficient because it sticks out enough that you'll be able to trim it away easily. So I can see, because I'm using white, I can see through. Otherwise, you're going to be doing a peek, you know, peeking this way and then peeking this way to make sure you've got enough all around the edges. But once you get a couple of squares put down, then you shouldn't have any issues. All right, so I'm going to put the arm back up here, and I'm going to do the second color stop, which is going to tack these down. I'm not worried about my thread. Okay, well, oh, help turn that down. Okay, so this is what the color stops after the placement of the stiffener stuff, whether you're using cutaway or craft fuse or deco bond. It depends on what you want to use to make your tic-tac-toe board or your game piece a little more firm, not floppy. Okay, I don't need to hold that anymore, but I do. Alright, so you get the hint. I'll be back. So if you don't have software to look at your designs, watch them stitch, figure out, what it's doing, I really encouraging you to download Designs in Machine Embroidery, to download their free software. It is free to use for purposes of seeing this design stitch, etc. Okay, so the next color stop in this is the one piece that's going to be a placement stitch for your fabric. So we're going to skip it. And then there's another one piece that tacks down your fabric. So that's if you're using one sheet like we did on the ones you can't see back here where my hand is pointing. The one back there that we already did. So I'm going to skip that, and that one doesn't belong there. I need to take that out. And now I'm going to do, the pie. And yeah, it is the pie. It's so small in this big hoop that I'm not sure. Hang on. Okay, usually I'll print out my my color sheet, or print out a color sheet, and it's easy to see. So I need to change. It is the pie, and I'm going to do chocolate pie. So I'm going to use brown. So I'm going to use brown for the pie and this color for the crust. Conditions. Right now you can see some sunshine to start you off. Temperature readings starting to warm. We're in the 50s and 60s this afternoon, warming into the low 80s. Cold front tomorrow draws in some colder air by the end of the week. Alex Astor, she's the author of Sky Shade, our GMA YA book club pick for November. It is the third book in the Light Love series, which is now I see a little thread that didn't get sucked down, so I'm going to cut it off. Alright, so it'll go around to all the filling, which is the chocolate filling of the pie. Or whatever design that you have, it'll stitch that part of the design for the game piece. Some of them only have one thing. Some of them have 2 or 3 pieces to the design. All right, so I'll be back. Oops. Oh, it's got the top piece too. So it's a little piece that is up above to make the flat part of the pie, I think. And why it doesn't do it all in one piece is beyond me. All right, I'll be back. All right, so that part's finished. I'm going to change my thread color and put in the color for the crust. Now, if you didn't want to have any fabric sticking out, you could always trim. Okay, so I have my brown thread in for the crust, and did I put that down? Yes. And I'm going to lower my foot, and it's going to stitch out the crust. Oh, yes. It's my tan fabric, sorry. And I hope it'll be able to be seen. These pieces are so tiny. All right, so I'll be back when it's done with all the others. All right, so now it's time to do the whipped cream. You can't have pie without whipped cream. Hello, or ice cream. It could be one or the other. So we're going to stitch that, and I've changed my thread because I'm using white. It's as white in the machine or in the file, but I changed it to an off-white, so hopefully I can see it on this white fabric. Alright, so it's an open design just like the rest of it. And I don't know, now it's doing the little thing at the top. Okay, so it'll go through and it'll do all the whipped cream, and I'll be back. And there, it's getting ready to jump over here. Oh, or not. I don't know what it's doing. There we go. All right, I'll be back. All right, so oh goodness gracious. That's what happens when you get up and walk away out of your craft room and the thread cutter decides not to do what it's supposed to do. So let's hope it didn't knock everything out of alignment. All right, so now it's going to go around, and we're back to that one part that if you want to trim all this fabric back, and well, I wouldn't, because of it's going to have to be cut anyway because of your decor, but it can stitch a small little satin stitch. That's color stock 24. I'm skipping it, and I'm doing the fabric pieces, and I'm just skipping it. If you want to stitch that for extra support, you can. It's just a little teeny tiny zigzag, but I'm going to skip it, and I'm going to stitch the actual satin stitch. Just like I did over here on these for the little girl. Sorry, I used my hands. You can see the little girls. It's doing the same satin stitch right here. And then I'm just going to cut all this material back when I cut them out. So remember, I had my stabilizer, my cutaway stabilizer. I put my craft fuse down to give the tic-tac-toe pieces some body, and then I did my individual pieces of fabric. I'll be right back. All right, and the magic of video, those are done. And now we just have to trim it all out, just like we are going to do on the top ones too. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've got them sewn on. Got all the back sewn, and it's time to trim. So just remember, when you get down to the next to the last step on the game pieces, that is to tack down your backing, or just a reminder to put on your backing and then stitch your satin stitch, one or the other. All right, just don't forget to put your backing on before you do your satin stitching, and then finish the satin stitching. Hang on. All right, so I'm at the craft table. We have our backing on. Just don't forget that. So now we need to cut out, so this one I put a whole piece of fabric down. This one I just used little squares, so it has, you know, what sticks up, but you can trim, you're going to be trimming all that. So we take a rotary cutter with a wavy blade. Okay, I don't know if you can, let me turn that around this way maybe. No, that doesn't work. Just like that. It has a wavy blade on it. You're going to line up 1/4 inch on your satin stitching all the way down. Make sure you've got your horizontal. Hold the ruler down really well. See if I cut through. Okay, if you don't cut through, try to line your rotary cutter, the wave, with the previous wave, and I think all I need to do is just trim that with a pair of scissors. My wavy blade needs to be replaced. All right. Did it go through? No, it didn't. I'm going to do it again. I just have a hard time getting the leverage anymore. Line up my 1/4 inch, and let's try it again. I've tried it with pinking shears, and my hands just aren't strong enough. And this piece of felt is really heavy, and that looks like the dickens. Should I try cutting it with a straight, because it's slipped? Let me try a straight edge. And if I do one, I have to do them all this way. Now, I'm going to go a little bit closer. Okay. I like doing the wavy edge. I like the look that it gives you. And I have to now do all of them now with the straight edge. And I don't like that. All right, hold it down really tight. Push. Yeah, I need a new wavy edge. It's been used a lot for a lot of different things, so I'm going to get a little closer since the other one is a little closer. Yep. All right, and you just do this, go all the way around your game pieces, trimming them out, and then you'll be done. So I'm just going to, okay, I'll be back. So I've got that first one done. So if you want to get really close, say you've made a mistake like I did, you can take and line up your 1/8 inch mark just barely to the inside of the satin stitch, and it gets really close. But make sure you are pressing down really well on that ruler so it doesn't slip. Watch it slip. I've got to make sure I've got it inside that satin stitch. It's lined up here and it's lined up there. See how close that gets? And you can do that on all of them. Or if you have a good wavy edge blade, put it in your rotary cutter and use the wavy blade for decorative purposes. See, you can get really close and it's nice and neat. Little edge because I have a tendency to go off to the right. Okay, so that's all of them. So there's your pumpkin pie pieces. That's 3, 4, 5, and 6 cut with the straight edge. Now one of these, and I can't tell you, I think maybe it's this one. I messed up with the rotary cutter, but you can't hardly tell it. So that's your pieces for the little girl. Now I've got to cut the other ones. I'll be right back. So I'm cutting with the straight edge. Move over and cut. I've already done the other side. And just barely on the inside of the satin stitch. Pressing down really hard before I cut on my ruler so it doesn't slip. Okay, so I've got, you can see how I've got it cut. Okay, so I'm going to lay it back down. Hope it lays straight. Get that out of there. Back down straight, and I'm going to put this on here. Got it lined up on the side and along the top. Oops, no I don't. This needs to be in. There we go. Now it is. And come over here. Just to the inside. And these have to come out now. I have to turn these around. And trim it. So I just worked my way down and making sure they're all lined up. That's even, that's even, that's even. 2, 3, got those done. And I just have the edge of these to do, and I'll be right back. And there it's all done. The female turkey and her game pieces, all done in the lighter stitch, not the fill stitch. Remember that the game pieces are all in the lighter, but the turkey can be done in a darker, the heavier fill stitch, the regular fill stitch. So that's how you do game boards and game pieces. Thanks for watching through this. And even though I forgot to put the backs on the pie, I just sewed them by hand. All right, thanks. Looking forward to seeing your game boards and pieces. Enjoy. All right, so when we finished a little while ago with the satin stitching around here, I quickly went to the cutting table and was going to cut up and forgot we need to put the backing on. So if you forget like I did, go to your sewing portion of your machine and put your needle on in the center and stitch right on top of the satin stitching, and it'll, after you apply this to the back, okay, and it'll tack down your backing and you're good to go. So before you do the satin stitching, remember, I'm just trimming the tails while I'm talking. Before you do the satin stitching on the game pieces, you have to put your backing on. Okay, that's what the blue step is. Boy, this has been a real trip for me because it's been so long since I've stitched a game piece, probably since last Christmas. My grandchildren are bigger, and I have one little granddaughter that's far away, and I had a tic-tac-toe board already done and gave it to her, and have not stitched one since until just day before yesterday, I guess. All right, so I've put in dark brown, and I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to change. And I'm going to lower my foot. I'm going to raise my foot. I'm going to put my foot down. Yes, I'm right on the center. Okay. Oh. And I'm going to do my little 3 steps here. I'm going to go right down the center of that satin stitching. Back up. I went too far. Turn it around. Flip around. You got to do this for all 6 to hold that felt down. Okay, one more. So that holds the felt on the back that isn't there. Oh my word, it came off. Okay. I think maybe I'll just go to bed. Shoot. And it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so I'm going to put this back on. This was not meant to be, evidently, and I'm not too worried about where it stands now. I'm going to tape it down once again. This just lets you know that we aren't all perfect by any means. Oh my God. Okay, so now that one that I just did, I'm going to have to do all over again. So it's going to have a little extra stitching. Put my foot down. I'm centered. Yep. Put that down, and we're just going to stitch over that again. Go around. Since I'm turned this way, I'm just going to go right here. And I'm going to do the rest this way. What a